like Sue said, this is CLECAT, and for anyone who didn't know, CLECAT came from the old name for OLLI, which was Continuing Learning and Education, and the CAT part was Computers and Technology, and the topic is the OLLI website. Here's what I'm planning on covering today. I'm going to first mention the people we've got working on the website. Then I want to cover how to, where our website's at and how to get around it, what information is available. And I should have put into the announcement for this, it's probably best if you brought both a computer and a phone to this thing, because I'm going to cover how it works, how the website looks on both on a computer and on a phone, and it does look a little different. So I'm going to start with it on a phone, well, on a computer, and how to work with it on a phone. It is a little different. And finally, I want to add a section on how to add things from the OLLI website so that they're an icon on your phone, which makes it, really easy to access. The website is olli.fullerton.edu, or if you're older, it's olli.fullerton.edu. It's really over 700 pages. That's 443 normal, what you call web pages. That includes 146 class videos. We've been recording class videos like crazy. We've got 30 other videos. There's about 260 PDF documents, which are all sorts of things. We got flyers for various events, although we have fewer events this time around. We got music, we've got dance steps, and we got all sorts of things. And right now, people involved, of course, myself, Bev Ritzy, and Steve Kearns help update the pages. Ginger Barnhart does an amazing job of updating the calendar. We'll get into the calendar in a little bit. I'm going to put Ginger up for sainthood for the amount of work she does. Bob Newcomb and some Cal State Fullerton students do a wonderful job of they used to video record them and edit them together. Now they're taking recordings off of Zoom and hanging them up and putting them up on the website. Of course, we got a long list of instructors that are involved in this. We got a long list of class technical coordinators, Rick and Sue in this case. They're doing a lot of work to get everything ready. And anyone that has any input to the Blue Books, which we've gotten a list now, it's about 300 to 400 people long. All of our coordinators do a great job. Okay. I'm going to start with, the first thing it's just how to get around on the website. There are about 3 different main ways to get around on the website. Like I said, if you you open a web browser, Chrome, Safari, whatever, and you type in olli.fullerton.edu and hit enter, it'll come to our website. And you'll see that it consists of a dark blue banner up here. It says Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. Some tab menus, which I'll get into in a minute, and some images, some pictures down below. We'll get to all this. When you're on any page on the website, now let me go to another page.
On the website.
You'll notice that this banner at the top is always there. And you can always get back to the home page by clicking on Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. About every page on the website, so most of the pages on the website are really only a couple clicks away from this page. There are literally dozens of links from this page to just about everything. Right below it, if you hover your mouse over, I'm hoping people can see my mouse pointer.
Yes.
Our menus, and depending on where you're at, you get different menus. Donate, just there's a button, and of course, I think most of you have seen the Join Renew tab by now. You can either click on those, for instance, if you click on them, it'll bring up a menu that had the same thing that was in the pull-down tab. And you can pick an item. This is our latest addition to the website, and I'll get back to this one in a little bit. You can get to, by clicking on any of the images there, you can bring up different things. This is, for instance, is a message for our President Joyce Ono. And you'll notice that on the left side is another menu. And that's just showing things that are in this area of the website. Depending on which part of the website you're in, there are about four different versions of this menu. You go to the classes, probably the one that most people, classes menu contains pretty much anything you want to know about all of our classes. The first thing on that menu was an alphabetical list, and that's a list of all of the classes that we're currently teaching. The ones that are in bold text here are things that are open to the public, and things that have a yellow background are part of the Transitions in Retirement series. Of course, from here you can get to any class you want. You can go look at, click on a class, bring up a description of the class, and in many cases, more information. One thing you'll notice on every page is this little thing on how to connect to Zoom classes. I'm guessing since you got here, you had at least got there some way. I'll get back to that in a little while. The left side menu, and when you're looking at courses, includes breakdown according to different types of classes, languages, science and technology, special interest groups, arts. There's one page a couple pages I'd like to point out. One of them is the course updates page. And that lists all the changes that have been made since the blue books were printed. Well, all the reasonably important changes that have been made since the blue book blue books were printed. Anyone who works on the blue books knows that we've literally started on the spring blue book before this semester started. And they're already collecting the information. It has to, after all the information is collected, it has to go to EIP to be approved, and they do their editing on it. Then it eventually goes to a printer. Then it comes back, and there are literally months of that process is months long. So by the time the blue books actually make it to your hands, they're several months out of date. And particularly right now, because of the COVID-19 restrictions, et cetera, we had a lot of changes in our blue book, a lot more than usual. We had if you look here, is a list of the following classes that were originally scheduled that aren't meeting. A lot of our social programs, our dinners and luncheons got canceled. A lot of our social, things like the bridge classes all got canceled. Things that where people were meeting in person really to do them, and a few of them got canceled simply because the instructors didn't really want to handle an online handling. It is a little different. We got some other things. We got a group of calendars. We'll see the calendars again when we get to the phone. Volunteer, there's volunteer opportunities. And that's a partial list of things we're looking for. People to currently, that I've been told people are looking for. How to contact OLLI. Like I said, there's a group back on the home page. There's a group of things labeled more information. There's actually a lot of information stuffed away into that list of things. Top of the list is a thing called frequently asked questions. And it's what is it? You know, of course, the things you expect. What is OLLI? How do you take a class? How do you join? What effect does COVID had? How to access all these courses via Zoom? And there's a link here, list of classes. You know, basically, you have a question about OLLI here, that's a good place to start. The second one down here is how to put OLLI onto your phone or tablet. We're going to get into that at the end of this, but I want to mention it here because my experience is you'll probably, later on you'll want to say, well, what did they say during that presentation on how to do that? The information's here. It's broken down according to what type of device it is, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad, an Android phone, or you can also put OLLI icons onto Windows 7, 8, and 10 devices. Okay, like I said, we'll get into that in a little more detail in a little bit. There's information on how to, for anyone that hasn't created their student account, there's information here on how to do that. Sue has done a lot of work on that area. If you're interested in auditing classes, there is a huge description of everything you want to know about auditing classes. If you're a coordinator or an instructor, there's information. Parking and how to use the OLLI trolley is sort of a moot point this semester. Here's one that a lot of people probably don't know about. That's creative art by member. We've got some poetry by prose, link to ceramic. We got some exhibits that are actually video. I'd recommend taking a look at those. They're quite interesting. You got ceramics. You got one for the drawing class, one watercolor class. We've got at least right now just one photograph, although we'll get back to this. Some book reviews, miscellaneous.
Hey, Dan,
Yep.
If we want to submit something for that, how do we do things like that? Are you going to tell us later?
Bottom of the page, click here for procedures for submitting works for inclusion on our website.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. You can look at, if you can't find your copy of the Blue Book, the Blue Books are actually on the website. However, if you read what's in front of them, it says, these documents are just as they were printed. They don't have any updates. I don't have the ability to update these documents. That means that everything that's changed since the Blue Books were printed, actually since the information was collected, even before it was printed, is not in here. There is a link here to the page with all the updates. There's a link here to the page of our course list, our alphabetical course list. And if you take it from the website, it has all the updates. For instance, so if the class has changed its date and time, which some of them have, if you look at it on the website, you get correct information. If you look at the Blue Book, you can end up in the wrong place in the wrong time. But there is some other information in the Blue Book that you might find interesting, and they are here. Chronicles. And we send out a copy of the Chronicle every month, or almost every month. They're also on the website. Governing documents. If you're curious what the bylaws are for OLLI, they're on there. There's a link to our Facebook page if you didn't know. OLLI does have a Facebook page. Distance learning videos. You'll find that here. You'll also find it under our course list. I strongly recommend taking a look at this section. We've got, well, I counted last week, 146 separate video recordings, with more being added all the time. This one should show up sometime within about a week. But we've got 146 recordings plus. And they got the menus on the left side, sort them according to when they were recorded, what categories they're in, like arts, eclectics, politics, more politics. We got a lot of politics recordings. Our medical series, there's a lot of great information in the medical series for anybody that's interested. So I strongly take, obviously we're not going to watch all those in this right now, since that would represent about 300 hours worth of viewing, and it's probably more than I want to go through. And the last two items on that side are Zoom help and Zoom course links. These are a couple menu items for how to get to Zoom help. We'll cover that again in a minute. Okay. Below that top section, by the way, there's some nice photos of you. If you haven't looked at the photography club contest winners, there's some very nice photos in there. We got 6 categories of things that got special treatment right now. We got a new welcome page I've just added this year. It includes benefits of membership, visit our virtual open house, where you can watch the open house presentation. You could also, below that, you've got 30 recordings that some of our instructor coordinators made for their classes about what their classes are about. I think they're fascinating. I've watched quite a few of them. You can, you got a link, benefits of membership, etc. Anybody wants to look at it? Member testimonials is a nice one. There's one that says fall section, courses and events. And that takes you to our alphabetical course list. So you can see there's mobile ways to get to most of this stuff. The OLLI-Cal State Fullerton collaboration, for anybody that's new or anybody that's actually been here for a while. OLLI does a lot of collaboration with the other parts of Cal State Fullerton. We do a variety of things. We do consulting, we do lecturing, we do mentoring, we do tutoring, sharing life experiences, sharing career experiences, serving as research test subjects. I'm not quite sure how that's happening this year. Sue, I know, has been a common guinea pig for various nursing students, etc. things. There's a list here of things they're currently looking for people for. And for anyone that's new to OLLI or anyone that's just transiting, just retired, recently retired or about to retire. Well, we have our transitions in retirement series. We have the series called Transition to Retirement Essentials. It's listed here. We also have a couple. The TIR series is open to the public. They have a couple classes that are not open to the public. Once again, useful for anyone that's part of that. Then the two links here on the right side. Top link is Zoom Help. Why am I not receiving the various OLLI email newsletters? First thing I recommend is check. A lot of times we find out people are receiving them, but they show up in either their spam or junk folder. Look to see if they're there. If they are, you can usually tell your mail system that these things aren't spam. Otherwise, contact OLLI News Bites at Hotmail.
Okay.
You can also talk to Celia or Michelle in the office. The classic way that people find themselves not getting the emails is that if you elect to unsubscribe from any kind of email from OLLI, you are implicitly unsubscribing from all email from OLLI. So that's not a very good choice in this era of COVID.
Another place you can get into trouble if you forwarded one of our emails to a friend and your friend said, I don't really want these, and just click the unsubscribe. They didn't unsubscribe themselves from it, they unsubscribed you from our email. And and OLLI can't, and particularly our email service provider maintains a list of everyone that is unsubscribed, and we can't literally unsubscribe. You have to be the one to unsubscribe yourself. If you send an email to our newsbites at hotmail.com, they'll tell you the procedure. Anyway, Zoom Help has all sorts of information on how to use help. Different. It depends on what type of device you have, what you're trying to accomplish, whether or not you just want to look at a class or whether or not you're an instructor. And the last one on the bottom is this one here, which is links to classes for OLLI members. And you also notice it's up here under course link IDs, and it was on literally every page that has a class that's currently being taught. And that takes you to, you do have to sign in as an OLLI member, which means you have to remember your username and password. And if anyone's new and don't know and hasn't established your username and password, we got a page for that too on the website. Actually, we have multiple pages for that on the website on how to do that. Anyway. And what you've got is a list of all the classes sorted alphabetically. And you got two choices. You can just simply click each of the class names is really a link. So for instance, that's how I got to CLECAT Club this morning, was I simply came down here to CLECAT and clicked on it. It's probably not going to work now since I'm already in it. And that'll take, it's a direct link to the class. If you're on a phone, a non-smartphone where you can also get to a Zoom class with a regular dial-up telephone, a flip phone, etc. But you have to type in the Zoom ID number, meeting ID number. So that's also listed. And for those people that don't like it sorted alphabetically, we've also got it sorted top of the page here. We've got it sorted according to the day of the week. And so you got it Mondays, what times, alternate Mondays, the other alternate Mondays, Tuesdays, alternate Tuesdays, Tuesdays that are some other schedule. You might find that useful is if you don't quite know the name of the class, but you know it's under Tuesday, this might be an easier way. The one that probably, I think most people have had trouble finding has been our OLLI Tech Help, which is under free OLLI Tech Help in the alphabetical list, except almost no one knows it by that name. So does anybody have any questions about getting around? Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you. Classes.
What's OLLI Tech Help, Dan?
Oh. Friday afternoons between 1 and 3. We will try to answer any questions you have on pretty much any device, whether it be computer, laptop, smartphone, tablet. Actually, we've answered quite a few questions that weren't limited to that. We had one woman that was making a photo calendar, and it was how to set up a photo calendar, which involved working with somebody's website and getting her pictures and ordered into the calendar. I wanted to show you a few examples of some of the classes. For instance, if you go to, you said all the class pages descriptions are here, and these I hope are up to date. And these, in many cases, there's more information. For instance, the ceramics class, this first little piece here is pretty much the same as what's in the blue book. But the ceramics people did a video for the open house about what their class is. That's here. They also did a video on ceramics that are done by members of the class. That's also here. Another example. You go to the ukulele class. They also have a video, but they also have additional resources. And if you play the ukulele, if you've ever wanted to play a ukulele, you've ever thought about playing a ukulele, there's a lot of information here for you. I counted, I think there was 137 different songs listed here. Most of which I've never heard of. Some I've heard of half of them. I'm hoping that
Just because we've heard of Love Potion #9 doesn't mean we have any way to imagine what it sounds like when played by a ukulele ensemble.
Yeah, I admit that. If we have any ukulele players in the crowd, please do play us.
Yeah.
They're
You have
also,
You have to be able to sing along with it. You have to, unless you really can strum, you have to sing along with all of those chords.
okay. But anyway, there's a bunch of files here too on I assume that means something. I'm not a ukulele player, you may guess. Another one that has a lot of information is the line dancing.
I think it's worth mentioning that where the instructors have chosen to go to the effort of creating a website for a particular class, the OLLI website entry for that class will always have a link to the class website.
Yeah, I'll show you an example of that in a minute. We have this series called Transition and Retirement Essentials on Saturday mornings. They give me the presentations after, well, actually I've got this presentation in advance, but most of the time I get the presentations after they've been presented and they get put onto the website. So So anytime there you want more information about a past presentation, check either the class listing or the distance videos. Another example is you go to the science and technology, for instance, science for you astronomy with the Hubble Space Telescope. Once again, you've got a couple things. You've got the standard description you had in the Blue Book. You got a presentation that they did for the open house. You got a link, as Rick just mentioned, to a website that they've created for their class, which is actually not only this class, but past classes they've had. And they put in, they commonly end up with hundreds of right now they commonly add, you know, actually usually you end up with about 100 articles or so added to the course description, a huge amount.
I've been busy.
Yep.
I haven't kept it up to date, but usually I do things on Wednesday nights before the Thursday class.
Okay. You take a look at some of the past ones, they've got a huge amount. Just so, you know, it keeps Sue off the streets, just updating this. And they also have a section for class notes form. So far we got class notes for 1 week. We'll have it here for their Thursday, next Thursday here, probably today or tomorrow. And you got the class notes videos. And let me recommend, you know, take a look at any class you're interested, you know, and I do recommend that you look at it on the website and not in the Blue Book, because like I said, we do have a lot of changes. We do have a lot of changes that get made to the classes. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to show you what the website looks like on a smartphone rather than can everyone see this okay? If not,
Yes.
this is what, you know, this is a typical, this is my phone. It happens to be an Android, but things don't look that terribly different on an Apple, you know, iPhone. And one of the, and you'll notice that this group, you know, you got the typical icons that you see on a smartphone. And there's one group, there's 3 of them here right now that I have on my phone. That one says OLLI, one says Today, and one says Zoom. And if I select one of those, that brings up the OLLI website. Okay. Except there's a few differences between what you see on a phone versus what you see on a computer. And basically what happens is that things have gotten rearranged to work a little better on a telephone. You know, you don't have the big screen on an iPhone that you know, on a smartphone that you have on a computer monitor. And you can see, for instance, the slideshow that we had in the home page. And on the home page, to the right of it, it had a section with the more information. You can see more info has gotten moved down below that. If you scroll down the screen, Okay, things are a little slow here. The things that used to be arranged in a 2 lines of 3 across have gotten rearranged, but they're still, easily readable, and you just have to work with the fact that you're on a phone and you got a smaller display. And the other thing that you'll notice is that you no longer have the tabs at the top of the screen. Okay, what you do have is fairly typical for a phone. You have these upper left corner, you have these 3 little bars, and that says that there's a menu in there. And if you click on those, if you touch those, it opens up a menu, and you got 2 choices from here. You can either touch one of these items, or you can come over here and click on the right side. Let me do that. And that brings up the things that were in the tab menu on the original, on the large computer monitor. And you can touch, for instance, I touch history and timeline. That brings up the history of OLLI. Okay. One difference you'll notice also, if you look, I scroll down and I touch the courses and events, and it brings up the alphabetical list. Of course, it's had to change things around. And before, where you had 2 columns of course listings, it rearranged it into one very long column. But once again, it's readable. You can, and the same sort of thing, you can touch any individual class and it'll bring up, for instance, Deaf Cafe. It'll bring up the description for Deaf Cafe. Come on. Okay. The other thing, and notice that you can very easily miss. If you remember on your on a computer display, there was this left menu on your screen, and it's not here, and it's not up under the 3 little horizontal lines. There's this little tiny bit of text right here. It says open section navigation. If you click on that, it opens that sidebar menu. So it gives you another way of getting around. Other than that, other than the fact that navigation's a little different, and the displays have gotten moved, reflowed around to reflect the fact that you're on a smaller screen. Every bit of information that's available on the website on a computer is also available on the phone. I mean, if you go to something, for instance, you come down to the free open to the public courses, which is a PDF file. It's a little tiny text, but you can use the usual finger stuff to stretch it out, make it larger. I mean, admittedly, you now have to move it around with your fingers. Yeah, PDF files weren't designed, this is a PDF file. They're not really designed to work nicely on phones. But they are, you can get there.
I think it's worth mentioning that the website also works pretty well on tablets. Depending on how large and high resolution your tablet is, you may be able to use the desktop version of the website or the mobile version that you're seeing right here.
Does anybody have questions about using it on a phone? I do want to, the next thing I want to cover is how did I get those those icons back on my home screen. Okay. Yeah, how did I get these three? Well, let me go into what these three are. You know, the one that says OLLI is the OLLI homepage. The one that says today is a very useful feature. And it's a calendar of everything that's going on currently at OLLI. Okay. And you can open up, you can touch any individual item on the list and you get more information about it. Okay. And the third one that I have on my phone is this one labeled Zoom. And that's the listing of all the course links. So if you want to watch a course on your phone, go to the course links, click on the course, and it'll open the Zoom for the course. The question she just asked, and like I said, the next thing on the plan is, how do you get these onto your phone? And it differs a little bit based on whether or not you're on an Android phone or an iPhone, or but back on the website, the second item that says OLLI on your phone tablet / tablet. If you click on that, it'll bring you to a page. And if you touch, pick type of device you've got. It'll bring up a description of how to do that. Okay. I'm going to show it. I've got an Android phone here, so I'm going to actually go back to my phone. Back to the phone and actually do it. The way you do it is you open your browser. In my case, I'm going to use Chrome, which is that icon. You go up to the top of the screen. And you type in the olli.fullerton.edu or whatever. Actually, by the way, this method works not just for the OLLI website, but it will work for any web page anywhere. Okay, so you got someplace you go to 2 or 3 times a day or even once a month, but you like to be able to get to it easily. Just basically have an icon on your phone. You can use this method for that device. Anyway, open up your browser, type in the URL, and hit enter. And that'll open up that page. Okay. And then on an Android phone, these 3 little dots right here, that opens up a menu, and down on that menu right here, the thing it says add to home screen. And if you touch that, that brings up a little window and says add to home screen. However, what this text is all about is, what do you want to call it? Well, that's a nice description, except that's not going to fit on your screen. As you know, you get about 10 characters. So the next thing to do is take that change it to something short. And then click on add. And it'll give you a choice about how do you want to put it on your screen. It put it right here. By the way, you notice that rather than having any form of Cal State Fullerton or OLLI icon, you're just getting an F. That's a problem I've got right now with Android phones and our website, and I'm working on it. If you do this on an iPhone right now, you get the Cal State Fullerton tree logo as a symbol there, rather than just this rather boring F. The F stands for Fullerton. This is what I've got for the calendar, because I think a lot of people have used for the calendar. And I think by the time I show the calendar, that everyone will know how to add the one. They want the Zoom links also. But it's the same sort of procedure. In this case, you got to start with the calendar. Now, the usual way to start with the calendar is start with the website. Click on that 3-bar menu item. Click on calendars and touch this little thing, and that brings up all of them. By the way, there are versions of the calendars that are here that, for instance, it show just the committee meetings or just the open to the public meetings. The one that's most useful, I think, is the one that says today at OLLI. That one was really designed to be used on a smartphone. And it looks, it brings up this menu. And by the way, you can scroll up and down on that menu. If you want to look 4 months in 3 months in advance, you can. 4 months in advance, you probably won't find anything.
And Dan, I'm assuming that clicking on any one of those will link into the Zoom.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't link into the Zoom is that this is all public information on here.
Okay.
And since it's public, OLLI doesn't want the Zoom links to be in public. The next step in this process is how to add an item from here into your local calendar. Anyway, same procedure. Click on those 3 dots up. Click on these 3 dots up here. Come down, add to home screen. And shorten the name down to something reasonable.
There we go. There's my desktop. I'm going to go into the browser, which in the case of the iPhone, the standard one is Safari. I've already gone to the calendar page. So you see I'm looking at olli.fullerton.edu. At the bottom of the screen in the center is this guy, the square with the arrow upward coming out of it. That's the sharing icon. And if I scroll up, the sixth item on the pop-up list is add to home screen. And now you see I get a friendlier icon than Dan did because the iPhone doesn't have the same bug as Android at the moment. But I've got the same issue of wanting to create a more compact description to make it fit reasonably. Okay, now I'm going to call it OLLI Today. And hit the add in the top right corner here. And now you see Ollie today has been added here to the right of the Uber. So if I tap on it, I'm right back there.
No, actually, I want you to continue. The other thing is to show the how to add a calendar item from here into your local calendar.
Okay, so let's say I want to go to French 1 tomorrow morning. So I tap on it, wrong screen. There we go. And scroll down, you see, it says copy to my calendar down there. I tap on that. Come on, do it. Thank you. And now I see this stuff, which is kind of hard to read. Let me see if I can make it a little bit easier to see. You may need to choose which calendar to put things into. In my case, Sue and I put things into this calendar called Common, so I've overridden that. But I can play with adding a notification. So if I want to know 10 minutes ahead of time that it's time to go to French, I've now set that, or I can change it to 10 weeks ahead of time if I'm figuring I have to paddle my canoe back from Hudson Bay or whatever. Anything else I should show on this, Dan?
Repeating.
Yeah, in this case, if I wanted to repeat, I can say weekly on Wednesday. And now when I say save, it'll be in my calendar every Wednesday. And I could choose a termination date or a number of repetitions of it to happen. It gets trickier with the every 2-week classes because when we have Thanksgiving break or spring break, it creates a stutter in the 2-week cadence, but you can play with it. Anything else?
And then when you're done, you hit save.
Right, so I hit save, and now that's in my calendar. You'll notice,
Move to tomorrow.
yeah, there we go. Oh, come on, how do we get-
Click on it in the calendar.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Yep, and if you look in the calendar, you can see that French 1 is there. And if any of you wants to go to the dentist for Sue, I'm sure she's taking volunteers.
I thought you did a really good job, Dan, because this is
Yes,
really
everybody
hard
say
stuff
thank you to
do.
Dan for
Yeah.
doing a great job of telling us
Yes,
about Ollie's website.
thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
This was very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dan.
Oh, you're
There
welcome.
will be a total of 6 meetings of CLECAT this term. This is the first of the 6. They're every 2 weeks on Tuesdays at noon. The one 2 weeks from today, the lead presenter is me, and the topic is how to use Zoom better. In particular, if you have questions about using Zoom, not just for OLLI classes, but for getting together with your friends and family. So any questions that you guys have about how to use Zoom better, just contact me between now and 2 weeks from today, and I'll be glad to try to include something about that in the presentation.